My name is Mark. I'm the co-founder and group CEO of Sarwa, and a lot of you we would have interacted before. Very excited about today. It's a day where we're doing things a bit differently, and it's crazy to think that it's already been 7 years that we've started Sarwa. And we usually talk a lot about certain product launches where we're on the brink of launching or general, very product focused events or about financial education. Today is a bit different where we want to zoom out and explore our journey, reflect on the lesson learned, and provide also a view of what is the vision of Sarwa going forward. So welcome. If this is your first time learning about Sarwa, you'll also cover and learn more about our story and our mission to really build the future of investing in MENA. So a question we got is, what is Investor Day? What are the things that we're going to be covering today? It's basically an event where you're going to hear from the leadership team of Sarwa around key updates of the company, around our roadmap, and mainly it's a way of providing a transparent overview of how the business is evolving and what lies ahead. We've seen a lot of people resonate with our content, not just when we talk about what we do, but how we do certain things. And we compiled all of this into one material, and I'm very excited to be joined by colleagues that I'm very privileged to work with today. So it's designed for the Sarwa community, whether you're an existing investor, a partner, or just you're simply curious about Sarwa. And hopefully by the end of it, you'll feel like you got to know us a bit better, what we're up to, and we'll also leave room for Q&A at the end. So as we go through the presentation, feel free to drop your questions in the chat, and we'll get to them at the end. So no promotion, no sales, and mainly a way for us to connect with you and share our journey. So some of the amazing lineup we have with us today. I have my two co-founders to start, Nadine and Jad. Nadine is the mastermind behind the Sarwa brand, who put the human tone of voice, the amazing visuals, the storytelling, and everything that it takes to make investing simple and accessible. And she's going to be covering the market that Sarwa operates in and why we believe we're at a very pivotal time when it comes to investing in the Middle East. Jad, he's my best friend since we're 11 years old, and we started the company together. We studied at McGill. He's basically, his experience before Sarwa was working at a high-speed hedge fund, and we teamed up to build Sarwa from scratch. He's going to be telling us about the journey that got us here from getting the license all the way up until today. Ayman, he was at HSBC before Sarwa. Is one of the most positive guys I've met, and he leads with that. A lot of clients love interacting with him because he is very personable. He really puts the client first, and that really stands out when people talk to him. So he's going to be talking about how we're going and building deeper client relationships. Robin, he's previously at McKinsey and been also with us for many years. He's the one behind putting together the product, prioritizing all the features that you ask for, and making sure everything works smoothly between the platform and everything in between. So he's going to tell us about what to expect and what we're building next. And last but not least, Elizabeth, who's our COO. She's my right hand when it comes to running the company, leading investor relations, finance, regulation, and many areas of the business that are very critical to keep things running. And she's going to be telling us about what makes Sarwa so unique and how we're going to be scaling in the future. A few disclaimers before we start. The things to note here is that this presentation is for informational purposes and to promote transparency as part of our operation and how we do things. So it's not in any way an offer, any marketing, any solicitation. And what we really want you to get out of it today is to get to know us better and get to know the company better. So, and as you know, with all investing carries risk, and we also will this presentation isn't intended for distribution as well. So with that, let's jump straight into it. What is the mission of Sarwa to start with? Our mission is to create wealth for everyone by making their money work. We believe that investing is in a simple way and in a proven way can build generational wealth, and it's an opportunity that really excites us to drive that value. So for example, what does that really mean in practice? Last year, we announced that on the platform, there was more than $100 million of gains on the platform. So think of that wealth that was created purely by investing, in addition to all of the income and the other streams of income that our clients have been working towards. So this is one of the things that really motivates us, because these tools have been available for a lot of people in the past, especially the high net worth individuals or the top 1%. And what Sarwa is innovating is to make that accessible to everyone. 7 years in, what do we look like today? So we reached $613 million in assets under management, and across $4.5 billion in trading volume. And we're growing a lot. It's not just profitability, it's coupled with a lot of growth, where the last 12 months we've seen 52% in net deposit growth. So these metrics are as of April 30th, so very recent and unaudited. But we wanted to give you a picture of how much we've grown with you and the scale of Sarwa today. The four things that we're going to get into. So the first one is going to be why we believe that MENA, and specifically UAE, presents a massive untapped market opportunity. We're going to look at the product velocity fueling that growth, the deeply engaged customer relationships that we've built, and finally, the all-in-one platform positioned for breakout scale in 2025 and beyond. And with that, I'll hand it off to Nadine to get us started. Hey, Nadine.
Hi, thank you, Mark. I'm really happy to be here today. So I want to start by talking, as Mark mentioned, and telling you more about the Sarwa user base. So it really reflects the future of the wealth in the region. If you look into the numbers that you see here, we have around 78% of our database that falls under the grouping of Gen Z and millennials. So I would say Sarwa has been really earning the trust of the generation that will inherit and will grow the wealth in the region. And we're really building for long term by continuing to win with that young demographic, with the tech-forward investor. Small fun fact that you don't see necessarily on the graph is that we have around 175 nationalities in our database, and that's really from the GCC nationals and the expat population. So it's beautifully reflecting the diversity of the country and the region we operate in. Now, of course, this is very high level, but internally the team is always digging deep into analyzing the data in much more depth. If we look into income and gender, we have 20 to 80, and we're really, really hoping to push this to get to a healthy 50-50. Income and marital status is almost equally split. And Mark, if you want to look into the next slide in terms of the market specifically in the UAE and what makes it, with very strong fundamentals. So we all know that the UAE combines very high per capita wealth. It has a very supportive regulatory framework, and regulators here, they really work on pushing innovation, but also they ensure protection of the end user. So that's why I would say it's very, very important whenever you choose a platform to make sure that they are regulated here. In terms of the culture of investing, it's becoming more and more about wealth building, smart wealth building and investing. So all in all, you would say it's a prime launchpad for fintechs in MENA to actually, build out of here, because ultimately it's a hub for trading, both, in terms of physical trade, but also digital trade. All right, that's an interesting one where we can look into, the compounding of wealth generally in Saudi. So these graphs are talking about how this wealth is actually growing. And with that, with the financial capacity and that growth, we definitely need more and more tools to manage that rise in wealth. And it's not just, millionaires. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but it's really, if you look into the graph on the right, It's really that segment that's like the mass market and mass affluent that you see is gaining growth and needs to be more empowered, and especially to be more empowered when it comes to smart investing. And if you want to think about it this way, to hedge against inflation, right? So that's something that we keep an eye on and see how we can, work to provide more and more tools and products for this segment specifically. Now, in terms of the millionaire migration, and I know, we all heard about this, and we are seeing recently more high net worth individuals that are increasingly coming into the region, but also choosing Sarwa. So in fact, the 1 million plus client base has been our fastest growing group in 2024. That trend specifically validates the fact that we built Sarwa to address that. So that sits at the core of Sarwa. We build it for mass adoption, we build it to earn trust, but then that actually allows us to scale in a natural way. So scaling up market becomes a natural next step as you build towards it. Of course, we like to say that we are in the early days of the investment revolution. So now if you look into data generally, and you look into the US specifically, you would see, for example, in the US, around 55% of the population that is investing. And that actually increases in terms of percentage the more you go into the upper income bracket. For MENA, for the rest of the world, it's closer to 10, which means that there's potential to grow, and the potential is massive. The way we see it at Sarwa is that this is a generational opportunity to close the investing gap. How do we do it? We do it by simplifying the access and rethinking what a modern investment platform should be. Okay, if I want to talk about what is actually accelerating all of this, so we definitely like to say we sit at the intersection of many tailwinds, whether it's the rising in terms of investor and retail investing, trading, crypto adoption, AI adoption, wealth transfer that's happening from generation to generation, also gender transfer, self-directed finance, but most importantly is also the access to information that's becoming more available, with more social content and more content across. So each of these trends is really reshaping the way that people are building wealth with purpose and for the long term. But I want to talk a little bit about why they actually end up choosing Sarwa versus other platforms. That really speaks to the value prop that we have been very, very clear and very consistent from the get-go in terms of building Sarwa, and it sits at the core of the company's culture. So we're talking about simplicity, we're talking about trust, we're talking about choice, and we're talking about value. But most importantly, all of this is really felt from our client, and our community and our customers, because whenever we ask them why they chose Sarwa, it's not about just choosing a product, but they like to say that they're part of a platform that educates, that supports, and most importantly, that empowers. And I would say that's why we're very, very proud to have such a community around us. And on that note, I'm going to leave it to Jad to take this forward.
Thanks, Nadine. I love following that slide on why customers choose Sarwa. It really encompasses not only some of the key aspects of Sarwa as a platform, but also as a mission, right? And that mission for us has always been to democratize investing and to make it possible for anyone to build their financial future and to build their wealth. That's what we wanted to pioneer for the region all the way back in 2018. And before I let Robin tell you about the exciting stuff that are coming down the line, I want to take a moment and look back on how that mission materialized. So going back to 2018, when Sarwa got the first innovation testing license and pioneered the region's first digital investing platform for retail investors, nonetheless, people like you and me. So this is something we're very proud of as a team. We're very proud to be at the forefront of fintech and really to push the boundaries of what clients can expect from their financial services. That's what we strive for as a team from the beginning and onwards. We set the bar pretty high to start back then, and we've tried to top it every year since. I think we can see that in the next slide, so we'll walk you through it a bit. let's move to the next slide. Yeah. So here, the idea is to just see how we've evolved as a platform and as a community. So, following up launch in 2018, right away, we launched SRI portfolios, halal portfolios, and brought the minimum down to $500. And the idea was to allow more clients to invest according to their values. Then in 2020, we launched local funding, basically abolishing transfer fees, international transfer fees, and making sure that investors weren't penalized anymore for being in the Middle East. Then onwards, 2021, we launched the mobile app, making Sarwa accessible anywhere, and launched, of course, Sarwa Trade, empowering our clients to direct their own investment journey, invest in companies that they believe in, asset classes that they believe in. And afterwards, 2022 to 2024 was launching Sarwa Crypto, Sarwa Save, and realizing what Mark and Nadine talked about, which was the all-in-one platform, a vision that resonated with many clients who didn't want to have to manage their wealth across 5 different platforms, right? Finally, most recently, we launched options, Black Swan protection, and extended hours for trading. This for me is really great to see because, as well as the adoption for it, because it shows how the investor community of the region is not just growing, but growing in maturity and in sophistication. And that mirrors a bit what Nadine was saying earlier. In any case, as you can see throughout these years, we started off with maybe a dozen early investors, friends and family, and over the years have gone to more than $500 million in account balances. So it shows that vision has resonated with the investor community. And you can see it every day, right? With more people choosing to trust Sarwa as a platform and build their wealth on it. Of course, there's more to come. So I'll hand it off to Robin now, who's going to tell you a bit about some of the really exciting stuff that's coming.
Great. Thanks, Shad. So to follow up on that, as you've all probably noticed, product velocity is a core capability that we focus here on at Sarwa. Our capability of keep on delivering innovation and improvement at speed is very important to us. And we make sure that internally we get access to the best talent to keep on being able to deliver for our customers at a high pace. So I wanted to take a deeper dive into what we've been able to deliver over the last 12 months, where we've been emphasizing a bit more on trade while still providing new products and innovation for save and invest as well. So if you look at trade, we started off the year by enabling our customer to trade fractional limit orders. So this was something that was very highly requested from our customers. And then we started by adding access and more intuitive investing into commodities. So by providing a curated list of ETFs, our customers started investing more into gold, oil, and it was much easier for them to get exposure to this asset class. Then we added extended hours trading for people who wanted to trade in pre and post market. We've also added a before the bell push notification for customers to get an easy and quick bite of what are the top movements right before the market opens. We've also launched options, as Jad mentioned, and more recently, we added a corporate calendar that allows our customer to know when are the next earning calls and dividends. So we've launched a suite of feature and products to give a better experience for our customers for trade. And at the same time, we've still innovated on Save. So at the beginning of last year, we've launched Save Plus to provide a higher yield for our customers who are looking to get the most interest possible when keeping their cash into safe asset class. And we've done this through adding money market funds. We've also launched new products and new innovative products when it comes to Black Swan for our invest feature. So Black Swan were the first platform globally to offer such an easy access to this kind of investment product, where we help our customers protect themselves in terms of a massive market crash. We've done this through partnering with a universal hedge fund, and we're really looking forward to the excitement feature that this will bring for our customers. So more importantly than what we've done, I think you guys are more interested in what we have in the pipeline. So if we can go to the next slide. Perfect. So we have still a very ambitious roadmap. So as I mentioned, we really want to keep on delivering at pace. This roadmap, we've built it by listening to our customers a lot. So every time we get customer feedback, we take it very seriously, as well as making sure we keep into the strategic objectives of the company and the markets we want to be in. So this roadmap is based around 3 pillars: more advanced trading tools, faster customer experience, and giving access to more innovative product for the private wealth tiers. So when it comes to more advanced trading tools here, we're talking things like a trade desktop version. We've had a lot of requests from our customers to start being able to trade on a bigger interface and being able to trade on their desktop. We're also giving access to more insights and exploration to allow our customer to know more easily when and what they can invest in based on their specific needs. So this, for example, could be a smart alert feature that can notify customers of certain price movements when earning calls are coming up and when big news come around stocks or assets that customers are interested in. We're also looking to add margin trading for customers who want to take bigger positions into certain assets through the usage of leverage. We want to enable more advanced charting tools. And one big thing we want to do is give access to more exchanges. So through Sarwa's journeys, we've added constantly more assets that our customer can invest in and giving more and more choice for our customer. So adding more exchanges such as the London Stock Exchange, which has been highly demanded, but also focusing on some of the local exchanges. So Sarwa has been homegrown in the UAE, and giving access to our customer to the UAE exchanges as well as the Saudi Stock Exchange is something we want to do. When it comes to a faster customer experience, we want to aim for instant for all transfers. This is no longer a kind of a wish from customers, but much more of an expectation. So we want to make sure that all deposits, withdrawals, account transfer are instant. And the UAE has been doing a lot of innovation when it comes to the banking infrastructure with open banking. And we really see ourselves being able to implement extremely fast and smooth customer experience in the short-term future for our customers. We also want to make sure that there's easier account opening for our new customers. We want our customer to be able to have in their first session all the way from registering to placing their first order. And as always, we want to make sure that our customer support is as fast as possible so that our customers can reach us as quickly as possible. When it comes to the private wealth tier, we've launched Black Swan already, as I mentioned, but we want to keep on providing access to more alternative investments such as private market. We want to provide more in-depth and expert content and higher-end touch points with them. So with that, we thought we would share for the first time a sneak peek at our desktop version. So if we can go to the next slide. So yeah, just wanted to give everyone here for the first time a sneak peek at what we're building for our desktop. With that, I will now pass it on to Ayman, who will walk you through our relationship with our customers.
Thank you for that, Robin. Much appreciated. And hello to everyone here today. Thank you for joining us. So you've heard a lot about the size of the market. We've discussed the solutions that we've introduced over the years and the solutions that are coming down the pipeline. But how have you, as Sarwa investors, essentially interacted or embraced our approach to meeting your needs over the years? Now, the chart on the left is going to highlight to you, and for some, it may be a surprise, for some may not be, but we have considerable retention here at Sarwa. And what I mean by that is users are starting their journey, they're investing, and they're staying for the long term. And one of the key things I wanted to highlight to you is that, look, imagine you've just started your journey with Sarwa. Maybe you've heard about it through a friend, maybe you're introduced to it through a colleague, or maybe you saw some of our online adverts and you started your journey. We have seen at the 18-month mark that there's a 73% retention rate at Sarwa, meaning that 73% of our customers choose to stay with us for the long term. And we also see this, I mean, that's not the full story. I mean, retention is one aspect, but what about the depth of the relationship that we have with our customers? We've seen a 340% growth of net deposits from their first deposit at the 2-year mark. So those who have started their journey with their initial deposits, whether it be $5,000, $10,000, $100,000, have now grown it by, on average, by about 340% at the 2-year mark. So people are joining Sarwa, staying longer with Sarwa, and remaining active with Sarwa and growing their relationships with us. Now, if I go to slide 2, the next slide here, what are people doing through Sarwa? Now, as you've heard it earlier, we've got many different ways and approaches to help you grow your wealth. Whether you're looking for something to essentially, if you're looking for a place to park your wealth, whether it be for your emergency reserves or whether it be for a short-term goal and you don't necessarily want to invest into the market, we have Sarwa Save. Whether you're looking to grow your wealth in a managed solution over the long term, we have Sarwa Invest. Or whether you want to be behind the driver's wheel and pick and choose your own investment or devise your own investment strategy, we have Sarwa Trade. And what we have seen, this approach of trying to be the one-stop shop, to be able to allow you to find all the investment needs that you have in one place, has materialized to be a very successful relationship for Sarwa and also for our users. In fact, when you look at the average deposit size for Sarwa Save, you're looking at about $6,500. When you look at Invest alone, it's $13,500. When you look at Trade, it's also a $13,500. Combined together with Invest, Trade, and Save, that means that on average that we're managing at least $50,000 per user here at Sarwa. Now, what does this mean going forward? We can go to the next slide. The same clients that started with us many years ago, as I said, with that initial 5,000, 10,000, 100,000 are now at 500,000, 700,000, 1 million plus. And when you get to that stage, essentially your needs may change slightly, where instead of active growth, you may start looking at maybe how to preserve this wealth that you have. Maybe considerations such as inheritance planning, tax planning, maybe also guidance and advice when it comes to real estate. This is where the private wealth tier essentially really adds value for this subset of clients themselves, where you can actually speak to an advisor and they can essentially give you guidance in these areas through their network of professionals that could be able to assist you on this journey, inclusive of financial planning to help you essentially quantify exactly what your goals are and to help you have a roadmap to be able to achieve your goals. And Robin mentioned this earlier, solutions that meet the needs of your financial journey at that stage in time. And this is something that's coming down the pipeline very imminently when it comes to access to alternative investments, whether it be private equity, private credit, private infrastructure. There's a whole slew of solutions coming down the pipeline, and one of which we recently launched, which is essentially giving you the option to hedge your portfolio against black swan events. This is all comes on the back of we're seeing considerable trading volume growth here at Sarwa. We're also seeing the fastest segment, and we saw this in 2024 with the fastest growing segment of assets under management within Sarwa database, essentially those who have $1 million or more with Sarwa. It's an exciting time, and it's going to be an exciting future, and just stay tuned for more announcements. I'll hand it over to you, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Ayman. So I wanted to walk you through Sarwa's flywheel. So at Sarwa, we've always believed that the future of finance is personal, integrated, and built on trust. What started with one core product in 2018, a simple automated investing experience, is evolving into a complete all-in-one financial platform designed to scale with our customers' needs. Whether you're buying the S&P 500, an Apple stock, or a Bitcoin, we're creating a seamless experience that brings everything together under one roof. But what makes this approach powerful isn't just the convenience, it's the economics. From a unit economics perspective, we're only paying customer acquisition costs once. That means as our customers grow with us by trying new products and expanding into different asset classes or risk profiles, the relationship becomes more valuable for them and for us. What we've built is also an all-weather platform. It's not just built to perform during bull markets. It's built to allow our customers to adapt and evolve, to serve them across all market conditions. Whether someone wants to dip their toes into crypto or stick with a globally diversified ETF portfolio, or both, it's all possible with only one trusted experience. And because these products are designed to work well together, as Eamon's just described, the value of our platform compounds over time. We've continued to prioritize trust, convenience, and meaningful financial outcomes for our customers. Next slide, please. Okay, so when we say we've built a resilient platform, we mean it. Despite all the noise, COVID, market volatility, downturns, rising interest rates, geopolitical turmoil, even the latest wave of tariff concerns, we've continued to grow. And not just grow, but accelerate. We've just passed $600 million in AUM. And that's even more exciting is how the pace is picking up. It used to take us a couple of years to add our next 100 million in assets. Now we're seeing that same growth happen in just a couple of months. What's driving this? It's the strength of our flywheel of offerings, each product accelerating and becoming individual contributors to growth. But more importantly, it's about the trust we've built with our customers. You know we're here for the long term. You know we're building not just for today, but for where the market is going next. You've heard that from Jad and Robin. Our model is designed to thrive across cycles. This is what gives us the confidence and the conviction to say that we're just getting started. Next slide. Oh, so you've heard from Nadine that we're standing at the edge of a massive opportunity. The MENA region remains one of the most underserved financial markets globally, with more people moving here each and every week. Jad and Robin discussed how our product velocity is accelerating. We're shipping faster, smarter, and in direct response to what our customers are asking for. Eamon unpacked what sets us apart isn't just our technology, it's the depth of our customer relationships and how actively engaged they are with our platform. All of this combined positions us for scale in 2025 and beyond. We're not just building a platform, we're building the go-to destination for wealth creation in the region. Thank you very much for being here today. I will now hand back to Mark, who will moderate the Q&A.
All right, thank you, team. That was awesome. And let's kick off the Q&A. We already have a few questions coming in. So I'll stop sharing my screen so we can all focus on that and look forward to hopefully an interactive session. I'll start with one from Yaman. So Yaman, you're asking that Sarwa uses the Markowitz framework, which relies on historical returns, and that given that Markowitz framework is highly sensitive to parameters like expected returns, covariance matrices, which are often estimated from historical data, how does Sarwa mitigate the risk of estimation errors leading to suboptimal or unstable portfolio allocations? I love this question. It's a lot to unpack for some people that are maybe not familiar with Markowitz, but basically his framework won a Nobel Prize, and it's been one of the most popular frameworks that investment professionals use to basically justify diversification. And we use it as well as part of our passive and Sarwa Invest portfolios. That being said, Yaman, I love this question that's a bit more advanced because we realize that it has any framework, especially when it's theoretical, and based on a hypothetical data set and a historical data set is limited. And I would say two things to mitigate the risks. The first one is the very existence of Sarwa trade. We realize that we've changed our view when, of course, it's good to diversify. But we also realize that there's a lot more that customers can do when it comes to self-directed to be able to add certain asset classes like gold and even REITs and real estate and be able to customize it so that you deal with that limitation. But more importantly, I would say what led us to launch our Black Swan protection is that very same limitation. We felt like for the day-to-day volatility, our customers were, if anything, when we saw like in April that the market went down, we saw that people actually buy more and were very resilient to these events. It was more for these bigger crashes like 2020 or 2008, where classic diversification doesn't cut it, and you need something more advanced, like the Black Swan protection hedge. And that's used through options trading as well. So hopefully that answers your question, Yaman, but we're very well aware of just evolving our investment philosophy also. And that's why we also have a more active approach as well, where that Michael Chu is a CFA leading it on our team that can dig into it further with you. All right, a lot of questions coming in. When will you I think we're gonna get a few of these around around timeline. So Robin and Jad, I'll let you maybe give some guideline on where that sits in terms of margin trading and access to LSE and global stocks.
Yeah, thanks, Shad. So yeah, I saw a lot of questions around timeline. I think obviously people are interested to know when they're going to be able to start using those things we've mentioned. For margin trading, I think we're looking at a Q3, Q4 2025. So basically by the end of this year. And when it comes to London Stock Exchange and adding more global stock exchanges, this will be more of Q1 2026, most likely. Was there anything else in terms of timeline, I guess?
I think, there's one on desktop, but we can similarly, I think anything we've shared today is something that is in the near term, with either its first part of the design completed, moving into development and testing afterwards.
All right.
I think one question from Diego, maybe Ayman, you want to take that one, is what makes expats invest in the UAE as opposed to their home countries, and what Sarwa's offering?
Brilliant. Thank you for that. Great question, Diego. A few different ways you can unpack it. So let's recognize the fact that in the UAE, we're operating in a tax-free environment, right? So that's a key, I would say, benefit that you have when it comes to investing, which means that also your capital gains essentially are sheltered. That may not necessarily be the case if you are sending money back home. And I don't want to just say uniform for everyone, but for the most part, that's not the case. So right away, one of the benefits is that. Number two, there are still very few institutions who have done a really great job of simplicity and combining multiple avenues to grow your wealth. Let's look at the UAE market in itself. How many companies can you think of right now that could offer you the managed portfolio solutions, self-directed solutions for trading and crypto, a high yield investment account or low risk, and also combine to that the customer support, great user interface, engagement that you get to meet the proprietors of the business itself. There are very few institutions here, and surprisingly also not many institutions elsewhere that do a decent job of this. So I would say that would be the two key main areas as to why clients would be using Sarwa as opposed to maybe any other providers back home. Probably a few more that I've missed out, but those are the ones that come to mind right now.
Awesome. And another one for you, Ayman, from Vera, if there's any plan on the roadmap to add accounts for children to start saving for their future in university.
Oh, brilliant one.
Curious how people handle that today.
If we could, we would, but there's a way to do it. And I'll explain what I mean by that. So the age of majority here is 18 years old. So legally, a child cannot open an account until they reach the age of 18. And hence, you'll see that represented when you try to open a Sarwa account, that you must be at least 18 years old. But what we've done to meet the needs of parents to be able to save for their children is that you have the ability to open sub-accounts through Sarwa. And I've seen so many examples of this with a number of parents where they'll have their primary account, which is meant for their long-term goals, for their retirement, or for other goals that they may have, but they have sub-accounts that they've even personalized to name it in the children's names, and they're actively saving for them. And whether it be they're saving for their university needs, or maybe you want to help them with a head start when they finish school, maybe they want to buy them a property. So you can do it, but legally, you're the owner of that account. Now, when your child does turn of age, we're happy to facilitate for that asset to be transferred over to them. So we'd be more than welcome to, you're more than welcome to let us know when they reach that age, and we'll be happy to support in that case.
Awesome. Thanks, Eamon. Jad and Robin, this one's for you. If there's any plan to add dividends calendar to the app, or maybe listings, record date, and X date in the page of each stock.
Dividend calendar, and what was the second part?
Yeah, basically being able to view the dividend calendar for each stock and in general.
Yeah, so this we've actually launched something like that maybe like a few weeks ago, which is a corporate event calendar. So if you go into that feature, you can see dividends which are confirmed and announced for all the different assets, and you can also see like confirmed earning calls and their dates. And you're able to also see the ones that are in your positions and in your watch list. So you can also see them in those different ways. So I think for the person asking this, if that's not what you mean, you can reach out to us after, but hopefully that has already been deployed.
Got it. Thank you, Robin. I think we have a few questions on just the general, quite a lot of interest in various exchanges. So from London to UAE to Saudi to globally. So just to clarify on that point, this is going to come as part of one release that incorporates global stocks that will be available within, obviously within the same app and the way you use Sarwa today. Okay, we have one question to clarify margin trading. What products are you referring to when referencing margin trading, and is that CFDs? Robin, if you want to take that.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. No, so when we mean margin trading, it's not CFDs. This will allow you to take a certain amount of leverage. So getting a multiple in terms of cash into your account. So it would be more taking like cash into your account that you can invest. And it won't be offering the multiples that CFD platform offer either. It would be much more conservative than that. And you would still own the underlying assets whenever you buy through margin. So it's more of like getting access to cash so you can buy with that cash at an interest rate.
Got it. I would also add CFDs is something, we typically speak up against that provide just way too high in terms of the amount of leverage. And that's why you see a lot of sometimes disclosures where more than 80% of customers will lose money on these platforms. So I think CFDs take it a step too far most of the time and give people way too much leverage. And it was designed for professional investors or more advanced investors, but I would just generally use caution when dealing with them. I think, yeah, again on global stocks. All right, this is for you, Ayman, from SEPI. Does Sarwa save percentage return increase with the amount of saving?
So can you repeat that question again? Does a Sarwa save interest?
Return increase with the amount of saving.
The amount of say, I'm assuming he means, or he or she means that with the level of deposit that they are putting in.
Yeah.
But I'll answer in a variety of different ways. So a little bit of context. We had Sarwa Save, and then we evolved to introduce a Sarwa Save Plus, which gives clients an opportunity for a higher yield. And the way that we've done that is through the use of a money market solution. And that money market solution is essentially a diversified portfolio of treasuries, bonds, even a certificate of deposits, and that are diversified on a global scale to try to generate the best yield for you. Now, that yield itself is not a guaranteed yield. It will fluctuate according to what the interest rates are in the prevailing market. So you're going to see periods of time where the interest rates, if interest rates go up, you're going to see the yield on the Sarwa Save Plus increase. And if interest rates drop, you're going to see Sarwa Save Plus yields decrease accordingly. It is it's not dependent on the level of deposit that you put into the account. If that's the question, if that was what you were referring to that gentleman. So it is not a function of the level of deposits, it's a function of what the prevailing rates are in the market and what the returns are from the underlying investments themselves.
Yeah. I think similarly, but not too far off, Eamon. Question when it comes to bonds, any plans for bond ETFs and in general investing in bonds?
So you'd be quite surprised as to what's available on Sarwa Trade. If you literally peruse and look for bond-based solutions, ETFs, there's a menu of different solutions, whether it be more curated or more diversified access to bonds. There's a number of customers that we speak to, and they essentially curate their own income-based portfolio through Sarwa Trade itself. With regards to Sarwa Invest, I mean, obviously, we're always reviewing our portfolios on a quarterly basis through our investment committee to see what's the best tools out there to be able to generate sustainable growth for our clients. But right now, we're happy with the approach with BND and BNDX on Sarwa Invest because they do such a great job of giving you a diversified approach to U.S. markets and international markets themselves. I would definitely encourage, to have a look on Sarwa Trade. You can curate and make your own investment strategy right on there.
All right. Liz, this is an interesting one. I think that I'll give to you. So I have around 50K invested in single stock, and I'll be investing more than over the next few years. How can I make sure that Sarwa will not just close down and run away with my investment? And I think we've seen a story this week on an unregulated scam. So I totally get the question.
Yeah.
And would be great to address that.
For sure. So Sarwa is regulated in the ADGM by the Financial Services Regulatory Authority. And so we have some very strict rules in place that we have to follow in terms of client money segregation and keeping everything separate from us as a company ourselves. So basically, if anything happens to us, then the regulator will step in and your funds and everything is safe with the custodians where they currently are. So we've got Saxo Bank, we've got Alpaca, and they themselves have insurances in place and they're regulated by the SEC. There's different mechanisms to make sure that your investment is always protected.
Yeah, no, I love that question. It's sometimes, people are shy to ask, and we get it less and less as we grow, but it's always relevant to understand what are the regulations, who are the shareholders. That's why we take time to do these sessions. You can find, last week we were talking about our shareholders, including some great investors like Mubadala, ADQ, some of the sovereign wealth funds, the DIFC, and the people behind it. So I think all of these, it's your right to ask to see who are the shareholders, what's the regulation, the jurisdiction, and ultimately where is the custody of the funds that we with the partners that we work with. And all of that is available also online where you can go and check specifically on our FAQ page. Jad, this one's for you from Claudio, just asking more about AI and how are we thinking about AI? It would be great to give some color into some of that discussion we had also last week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I saw that question as well. And thanks for the question, Claudio. So the way we think about AI, obviously, we've been thinking a lot about how it fits into the company, how it fits into the customer journey. Now, one of the things we're very attached to at Sarwa is the human element, making sure that our clients always have someone to talk to, making sure that just like this webinar, there's real people behind the company, and those real people are always at the forefront. So that's something that we care about a lot. But that being said, we see a lot of opportunities when it comes to Gen AI, both internally and for the clients. Of course, internally empowering our team, making it so that we can do more individually, and we're a team of people who handle a lot of things and a team of overachievers. So Using AI as an extra tool is definitely a big one. But even on the client journey and the customer journey, and I think there was a question earlier about bonds, and the answer was, you can find it on the platform, and I think that's a really strong area where AI is going to really step in when it comes to investing, in terms of helping investors find the kind of investments that they're looking for, something that meets their criterias, where those criterias can now be quite complex and quite and specified in natural language and in conversation. So this is one of the areas among a few that we're exploring and we're looking into when it comes to how Gen AI and AI in general can really fit into the customer and the client journey at Sarwa.
Awesome. Thanks, Shad. Another one from Claudio, maybe Nadine, if you want to chime in. Can you give us more details on CAC to LTV, payback period in this industry? Getting to short payback is always challenging. So I would be interested to understand how are those KPIs and what you're doing to optimize them.
Oh, I like that question. Well, it's a continuous strategy, and the reality is the team is always looking into ways to experiment and A/B test on every single channel. So I would say when it comes to kind of marketing and making sure you're optimizing for the ratio, is to understand, your ideal client, where they're coming from, where are they first, so to know how to actually talk to them, how to communicate to them, and then ultimately just make sure you have that way of reaching and checking into, from a data perspective, where the revenue streams are coming and how much that's costing you in parallel. So just keeping a healthy ratio between the two and making sure that you're reinvesting that money to increase. I'm not sure, Mark, if I'm answering the question specifically, but I'm guessing that's really what they're looking for, is to, in summary, just making sure you list all the channels that you have to reach the client where they are, and then understanding how much that's costing you and what's the return from these channels.
Thanks, Nadine. There was one that's coming up a lot. This one's gonna be for you, Ayman. So I guess one from Pratap around, are you also thinking of any portfolio management solutions for customers who have portfolios ranging from 50K to 200K? And the second one is around, when we say which private investment product you think might be integrating. So maybe demystifying a bit for these professional investors and people looking for private investments. What does it entail?
Absolutely. Pratap, great question. I'll start with the first one. Regardless of whether you're 50,000, 200,000, or 500, you already have access to a powerful wealth management tool. The Sarwa Invest service itself takes care of all the requirements to build a sustainable, strategy to grow your wealth. And I don't know if you had a chance to dig into it. If you don't have a Sarwa Invest account, I definitely welcome you to open it up. And just to give you an idea, we'll start by asking you about your goals, the timelines for your goals, your investment expectations, your appetite to risk, and we'll curate a recommendation for you on the appropriate risk profile, as well as the appropriate portfolio to grow your wealth. But we don't stop it there, Pratap. What we do is we take care of everything end to end. So from your very first deposit or any ongoing deposits, it's automatically traded into your investment portfolio. So that removes the analysis paralysis that some of us would face on deciding on when's the right time to invest. The best time to invest is today, and that platform automatically takes care of this for you. We take care of the rebalancing. We take care of the dividend reinvestments. You have access to see, every single day what your portfolio valuation is. So that's available to you even at the $500 mark. So there's no compromise. You don't need to have 50,000 or 200,000 or even $1 million. The same clients who have 500 or they have 5 million with us are also sitting in those portfolios themselves. With regards to the second question, with regards to alternative assets or private market solutions, in very specific, alternative assets really comes down into the categories of private equity, private infrastructure, private credit, venture capital. These are the solutions that we're going to be introducing and rolling out. And there's a wave that's been kind of happening in the background of trying to democratize this. And so much so that you're actually going to see instances of this on Sarwa Trade. We just sent an email out yesterday, just highlighted a very novel approach to accessing private markets through an ETF, which is unheard of, before. And what we're doing is we're taking it a bit further to offer more vintage solutions to those who are professional investors or accredited investors, that would help them, essentially have a further diversified approach to grow their wealth, whether you're looking for income solutions or whether you're looking for growth solutions that are a little bit more stable. That's essentially what's coming down the pipeline.
Mhm. Thanks, Eamon. This one's for you, Robin, more on the design side. When looking at the performance in the app of Sarwa Trade, it seems that the graph takes deposits into account and not only earnings. So the graph ends up showing super high returns, but it's only because funds have been deposited into the account. Are there any plans to address that? I think it's a great question on just some of the design choices to reflect the performance tab.
Yeah, I think when it comes to performance, it's something also we're actually looking into improving more. It's something like it's very important for our customers to understand their performance. So we've tried to provide kind of some of what we heard from our customers were the key metrics first, which were like simple returns that's visible on the like summary tab. Also kind of net deposits, how much kind of came out of pockets, what's the current total realized and unrealized returns. On the performance tab, we do just show the graph of the account balance, which kind of deposit does impact that, and it more so shows kind of the percentage growth of the account balance and not of the earnings. But we're also looking into how we can upgrade this graph and showcasing actually a historical graph of either the full realized earnings or the unrealized earning historically, also displaying kind of the net deposits. So you can also see when you add cash inflows and cash outflows into that portfolio. So while we have some of kind of the summary of earnings, which are visible, it's not kind of visible on a time frame historically, but we're looking into how we can improve that for our customers.
Awesome. I think we'll take one more, and then for anyone that we didn't get a chance to answer, we'll get back to you through a written reply, and we can follow up after. We're just trying to deal with a lot of Q&A and the ones that are coming up the most. Okay, this one's for you from Jude. Thanks for joining us again, Jude. Any plans about offering tax optimized solution such as Irish domicile ETFs instead of New York Stock Exchange ETFs for the Sarwa Invest option? From a total cost perspective, does the dividend tax make a difference, or is it negligible compared to other costs on other markets?
So did you say for me? That's good.
Go for it.
Hi, Jude. Great to see you again. One of our longstanding customers. It's always a pleasure to touch base and also see you at our events. So Irish domiciled ETFs. I'll start with, that's already with the expansion into international markets. That's essentially going to solve itself anyhow, meaning, Jude, that you're going to be able to pick and choose Irish domiciled ETFs through the platform very shortly. But it was by design, and I would say an investment decision that we made strategically to really more focus on US domiciled stocks, even in spite of the dividend withholding tax of 30%. And that's not to ignore the preferential treatment of the dividend withholding tax, but when we've done a look back and we've seen how the performance has fared better for US domiciled solutions. Number two, the variety of solutions is significantly more. So if you're looking to curate a portfolio for a client that's going to position them for success, you want to be able to view all of your options. And unfortunately, right now, as of this point, Irish domiciled ETFs are limited in comparison to US domiciled ETFs. Thirdly, when you look at the expense ratios, and if anybody who's been with us long for an extended period of time, you know, one of the ethos or one of the philosophies of investing is try to keep your investment costs as low as possible. We have seen time and time again that in most cases, ETFs that are Irish domiciled are 2 to 5 times more expensive from a servicing perspective than US domiciled ETFs. So when you combine all this, look, it's a great idea to reduce your dividend withholding tax. And it's probably going to become a more of a growing concern as you get older, as your portfolio naturally shifts more of an income-based solution. But at this stage, to position you for the best, growth opportunities, U.S. domicile is the way to go.
While I have you here, Ayman, interesting, since yesterday I saw Bitcoin hitting a new all-time high. How do you see, we have a question asking, how do you see customers incorporating crypto into their overall wealth portfolios?
And I might add, very quietly rising to a well above $100,000. That very strong rebound, but not really making the headlines, which is really interesting. Which the news doesn't dictate the market; the markets dictate themselves, right? It's very interesting because there was a journey of from a financial literacy and comfort with investing in cryptocurrencies, and Bitcoin has definitely become very much a household name at this point in time. And I distinctly remember when we introduced the option to add a 5% allocation to the Sarwa Invest portfolios. And for many, that was their first time being exposed to that asset class. And it's done such a brilliant job as a diversifier. When markets have gone one way, the Bitcoin exposure has helped them essentially reduce the level of volatility in their portfolio. From our approach, we think it's a great diversifier. We think obviously you don't jump in with both feet and put 100% allocation to cryptocurrency. So we're more focused on tried, tested, and true methods of investing itself. But we believe it to be a great diversifier. And whether you want to approach it from a Sarwa Invest perspective and just limit your exposure to 5%, or whether you want to kind of take the wheels, and take the wheel and essentially curate your own crypto portfolio, you can do so through Sarwa Trade as well too. There's a number of crypto solutions there that you can curate your portfolio. What we've seen is clients who have started with that 5% allocation, they've maintained it in spite of whatever I guess direction Bitcoin has gone, and they've recognized it as a great diversifier. And we've even seen some take the step further and curate their own crypto portfolios on Sarwa Trade.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks a lot, Ayman. I think we're a bit over time, but love the amount of Q&A and this session. We hope we'll do another leadership update maybe later in the year or at least once a year. We wanted to see how this works out, and it was very, very insightful. For those that we didn't get to answer, we have your suggestions, your questions with us that we'll get back to. And we really appreciate your time today and all the engagement. And thank you for following Sarwa. Have a great day.